Welcome back to 1834 Restoration House. It's a beautiful Saturday morning, and we're at the Greenville downtown airport. And you're probably wondering, well, what in the world are you doing at an airport? Well, it's a good question. I happen to be a private pilot. I've been flying since 1992, and aviation is something that I really enjoy. So does Jeannie. So I want to tell a story. But before I get into the story, I just want to tell you the reason we're doing this video today is a lot of you have been asking what's going on with the house. Why haven't you closed? How is it going? There's a lot of reasons why we haven't closed, and we're going to try to address those today. We were hoping to wait a little longer to tell the story, but I think we can go ahead and do it now. Anyway, back to the airport. About 20 years ago, I wanted to buy an airplane. At the time, I was living in Portland, Oregon, and I found an airplane for sale in Greenville. And I called the owner, who was a World War II veteran, and he got to the point where he couldn't fly anymore because of macular degeneration. And so I came out here to look at the airplane. Anyway, long story short, I ended up buying the thing. But I had no way of getting it back to Portland at the time because the weather wasn't good enough. I didn't have GPS, and there were a number of technical issues which I won't get into. So I ended up parking the plane right over there for 2 months. And 2 months later, I come back with a pilot friend of mine, and we took the plane, and this time we had 2 GPSs, we had a full flight plan, maps, charts, all of that. And I think it was about a 3-day journey across the United States. We got to visit some really amazing places and met some great people along the way, and got the plane back to Portland. So that was it. I figured I'm never seeing Greenville ever again. It was neat, but I'll never ever see it again. Well, fast forward 20 years, life changes. Suddenly here I am working in Greenville, living in Greenville. It's really surreal. So we were supposed to close on April 29th, but what happened was the inspector came out from the bank, and he was actually an appraiser. He came out and looked over the house. He comes out with a report, and he says, well, you're going to have to completely repaint the house and fix a bunch of brickwork before you can close on it. The appraiser's job is to value the house to make sure that it's in line with what it's being sold for and that it's, worthwhile to lend on. His job is not to make conditions about, we got to do this and you got to do that, and the lender completely agreed. And we went back and forth and back and forth. The lender even went back and forth with this guy, and even with the company that he worked for, and they couldn't get a resolution. So finally, they decided, okay, we have to basically reset and start over again. So they had another appraiser come out to give a second opinion. We managed to get the fees waived for the second appraisal. The guy doesn't come, and then finally he comes, but then the report it's taken so long to get back. Even as we record this, we still don't have the report in. I mean, we have a tentative closing date, but we've gone through how many closing dates now? I think we're on our 4th tentative closing date. The whole drama is all because of bank appraisers. I don't know if they're overwhelmed or if they just, I really don't know what the problem is, but that's what's taking so long. So we're waiting for this appraisal report to come in. Once we get that in place, then they can start the paperwork and get things moving again. Hopefully we'll be closed by the middle of the month. Right now the expected date is June 11th, but we'll see. We're kind of skeptical at this point. It's getting to the point where we're actually starting to forget what the house looks like. We have to go back there and look at it once in a while. And it's a nice day here at the airport. That's what I'm talking about. Well, with any luck at all, we'll be joining that guy pretty soon. We got to get this house closed and get moved in and get some things done first. The skies are blue and the weather's nice, and there's no reason not to be flying in weather like this. Anyway, we're going to take you down the road and show you some more interesting things. The Greenville downtown airport is a real treasure. There's not too many cities in America anymore that have airports so close to the downtown core. And that makes it really good for business people who need to get in and out of the city in a hurry without using the big international airport But this airport has some really neat features to it. Right behind me over here is a military history museum. That's a nice little thing for the community. And then over here, if you want to follow me, is a park. This is a place where people can bring their kids to play. They have an aviation themed park over here, complete with 2 runways. They're actually little strips of asphalt, but they have stripes painted on them and runway numbers, and it looks just like the real thing. Fun for the kids. They have a couple of aviation themed playground sets, and over there, on top of it, is a real airplane. Check out this beautiful propeller here. This came off of a very old airplane. It could have been a warplane or an early, like a DC-3 maybe, I'm not exactly sure because there's no markings on it. But I mean, this is classic aviation right here. So we have this ongoing problem with the bank appraiser, but we also have another problem that cropped up. So early on in the process, I contacted an insurance agent. She went out, shopped a couple of possibilities for us, and came back with an insurance offer that looked pretty good. So I said, all right, let's use this one. And so she sets it up, and then we wait, and we wait, and we wait. And suddenly she calls up one day and said that the value had to go up. Now, let me back up for just a second. So the house, we paid $167,000 for it, okay? So we had the replacement value set at $350,000, which is reasonable for a house that size. It would cost maybe $350,000 if we had to build it all new from scratch, okay? The appraiser, he goes out, looks at it, he says, no, it would take $1 million to replace that house. And so he came back and said, we have to insure it at $1 million replacement value. I just thought, wait a minute. If this house burns to the ground, I'm not going to go build $1 million mansion here. The neighborhood just wouldn't support it. In all likelihood, it would probably be another $350,000 house at full replacement value. I tried to communicate this to our agent, and she kept defending the appraiser. They're talking about the 3rd story of the house, and I'm like, we don't have a 3rd story. It's an attic. But they're like, no, you have a 3rd story. You have windows up there. And I said, but those windows are not a 3rd story. It's a facade. It's all smoke and mirrors. There is no 3rd story up there. There's the attic. It's unfinished. It doesn't even have a floor. It has no walls. It's not a 3rd floor. And then they're talking about the garage. I've never seen a garage. Never seen a garage. There's a carport, yes, but no garage. So I don't know. It's almost like he's looking at the wrong house or something. And at that point I realized, okay, she's not working for me. She's working for the insurance company. She's not serving our needs. And so I went ahead and canceled those out, and I went to a different company, got a nice quote, and got that all locked in. So we're good to go on that. All these things. I have never had so much drama in buying a house in my life. It's amazing. But anyway, that's where we're at now. We just have a couple more weeks to go. Hopefully everything will just click into place, and then we can close on the house and then move in.
Thank you for joining us today. Yeah, we're frustrated with this not closing on our house yet. All of our life is sitting on hold. Rather frustrating. Thank you so much for sticking with us. And we're trying to give you some interesting videos. This is not what we're usually about, but thank you. Thank you so much for sticking with us.
If you like what you see on our channel and would like to see more of it, please consider subscribing and hit the notification bell, and that way you'll be alerted every time there's some new content. We try to upload every Friday night, Eastern time, about 5 o'clock or so, 5:30, and we'll just keep putting stuff out there, and hopefully soon you'll be seeing a house.